Most often, our outing is to a Durham Bulls game, which I actually enjoy a great deal. But when we go to the baseball game, we're usually in relationship only with the people sitting on either side of us or the people right behind us or right in front of us. With so many new people on staff, I wanted something that would bring all of us together, not have us sitting in little clusters or silos. When I asked two of the senior staff members for ideas, they both surprised me by suggesting the same one: axe throwing. I was really surprised. How could I justify having the workers of a religious community hurling axes across the room? It seemed dangerous, somewhat barbaric, and downright silly. I was obviously filled with all kinds of judgment. So I asked the people who proposed this to me, what would be your theology of axe throwing? We are, after all, a religious community, and this was, quite frankly, a religious question. Now, here's the thing about theology. It's one of those thorny religious words that can be quite loaded for some, or perhaps we simply don't know what it means to begin with, nor are we certain that we should even care. In Western cultures, theology is most often viewed through a Christian lens, and so most people believe that what's essential about it is some understanding of our relationship to a deity, or the divine, as some might say. But in its broadest sense, theology has to do with the study of religious belief, whatever it might be, and how we each are making meaning of the great living and ever-evolving mystery of the world in which we live and move and have our being. Richard Gilbert, author of the UU study curriculum, Building Your Own Theology, points out that if we are living, breathing, hurting, laughing, crying, questing human beings, it is impossible not to be theologians. Theology traditionally has to do with the study of God or divine things, but there is another definition as well, he says. Theology has to do with ultimate concern and commitment by whatever names we call them. It has to do with the stuff of human experience, the meaning of being and becoming. We do theology not to become divine, as someone suggested, but to become more human. He goes on to say that for us, you use what we do together, not what we believe together, becomes central. Together, we hold to principles and values about what we do in community and the world. And we create covenants or mutual promises about how we'll be together. We, you use, gather with a unique religious freedom. As Gilbert says, to contemplate a diverse theological spectrum of beliefs. And we do this in community with diverse beliefs ranging from religious humanism, earth-centered spirituality, theism, liberal Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, mysticism, and more besides, including atheism. We, you use, do not believe that everything is okay or that everything goes. Perhaps our unifying core belief is summed up by a statement attributed to Unitarians from as far back as the 16th century. We need not think alike to love alike. Being on the side of love, aspiring to embrace and embody love in our thinking, being, and doing in the world is core to who we are as UUs. Our theology, irrespective of what other beliefs we might hold to. And of course, I do not speak of emotional, sentimental love, but an ethic of love, which challenges us, holds us accountable to being more than we are, and to holding others accountable as well. And so at the core of my question, what is a theology of axe throwing, was just this, in admittedly a rather tongue-in-cheek way. I began to soften my resistance to this idea as I wondered what meaning might come of it if I suspended my assumptions, judgments, and yes, prejudices about something I actually knew nothing about. Especially my assumption that it would not likely offer anything to our little group, anything meaningful. But so I invited the staff to attend an event that offered an opportunity for meaning-making and exploring our assumptions, definitions of fun, discovery of a new talent, or simply what it meant to be in an open-hearted space of allowing rather than resisting. All but 3 staff members were able to attend. And while we were there, what surprised me most was not only the gift some of our group displayed for axe throwing, but that folks came over to me from time to time and shared, unasked, what meaning they were making of it all. A tribute to our staff that the tongue-in-cheek proposition I made was nonetheless being considered in the midst of rowdy and uproarious fun. Here's what some of them had to say, reported to you, of course, with their permission. One said, "It's healthy to engage in things that we aren't good at or in contexts we aren't familiar with. It brings us opportunities to see life from a new perspective." This person also said, "I had a lot of trouble getting the axe to stick because I had a flick in my wrist. After some time, a teacher came and said, 'Okay, so you've got a flick in your wrist. Here's how to place your feet and move your body to use the flick rather than eliminate it.' The teacher welcomed me by encouraging me to use what I already had rather than removing it. There's a lesson in welcoming each of us as we are in that." Another person said, "There was a sense of all being in the learning curve together. Since it was an unusual and awkward motion to learn how to throw an axe that would stick to the target. It seemed like supporting and having fun was more valued by the group than scoring and winning." Another person said, "Vulnerability is required to learn how to do something in front of others. The coach was so supportive and clear in his suggestions for improvement. The laughter, joy, and warmth of the group cheering each other on made that vulnerability okay. We are all learning new roles, sometimes in full view of each other, and it's good to feel okay with that vulnerability." Another said, "Doing a shared activity that has seemingly nothing to do with our work took us out of our specific roles on the staff chart and allowed us to interact with each other in new ways, which makes for better communication and healthier work relationships when we come back to our roles." And finally, this person said, "I think of the ways that the success and precision of axe throwing for me was never about how forcefully or powerfully I was able to release the axe in my hands. Every time I made a bullseye, it was because I was totally relaxed and present, not thinking about the competition so presently that I was distracted, but holding that pressure just close enough to fuel my own fire. I thought about nothing other than how and when I was breathing. It is a sport about secure foundations and bodily awareness, about exacting pressure enough just to let go. Axe throwing was about listening deeply to my coach, allowing their instruction to inspire me. I felt like he was invested in my success, paying close attention to when and where I was tightening up, and offering me new and often incredibly subtle changes. I know that that kind of affirmative attentiveness is something that makes my heart sing, makes me feel seen, rooted for, and prepared for the task at hand. Wow. Receiving this sort of meaning-making feedback from our staff, the workers of ERUUF, fuels me with great joy at the hearts and sensibilities they all possess. I am deeply gratified and actually quite moved to be their head of staff. And so I close now with a photo of all this meaning-making activity. Here we are. So I want you to note that the person on the floor in the green shirt, the yellow-green shirt, has an axe handle that's longer than the rest of ours, and that is because Michelle Sager was our tournament grand champion. And so I've got to share with you one other photo. This is one of us attempting to look fierce and determined. This is who works here, folks. This is who is co-creating. This is who is co-creating a new ministry here. This is who shares the ministry with love at their core and ERUUF's mission and vision in partnership with each of you. Amen. Ashe and blessed be.